The calm before the storm. New York City was the same as ever that Tuesday morning. Noisy, rushed, and full of life. No one suspected that above the clouds, the end of the world as we knew it was unfolding. Dr. Lyra Vance stood in her Upper Manhattan lab, watching the monitors. For hours, her instruments had been picking up an anomaly that no one else saw. Beneath her contact lenses, her eyes stung eyes that were not human, but had learned to love this world. When the morning coffee on her desk began to ripple at steady intervals, she knew time had run out. "They're here," she whispered to the empty room. A second later, the sun vanished. It wasn't an eclipse. Above the skyscrapers, colossi that defied all terrestrial technology materialized out of thin air. Massive ships of dark, mirrored metal, resembling asymmetrical crystals, hung motionless in the atmosphere. New York fell silent. Cars stopped, and people stepped out, staring at the sky with mouths agape. Then came the first pulse. It wasn't a bang, but a deep tone that people felt in their bones more than their ears. In that moment, all electronics within a 10-mile radius simply went dark. The digital age ended in a single heartbeat. As panic spread through the streets, and the military tried in vain to scramble fighter jets, Lyra watched the ships from her balcony. Unlike the others, she felt not just fear, but a deep, painful sorrow. She recognized those ships. It was the fleet of Xylos, her home. But why attack? Why now? She saw smaller drones darting from the mothership like birds of prey, diving toward broadcast towers and satellite dishes. This isn't an invasion for resources, she realized with horror. This is a surgical strike. They are trying to silence us. She knew humanity had only hours before generals in bunkers panicked and reached for their nuclear arsenal. The doors to her lab burst open. Agent Marcus Thorne, gun drawn and government ID in hand, looked like a man who knew he might die today. "Dr. Vance, you're the only one whose sensors caught something before the blackout. What are we looking at? The Russians? China?" Lyra looked at him and, for the first time in her life, removed her contact lenses. Her eyes glowed with a pure sapphire light. "Neither, Agent. That is my family. And if you don't listen to me, by evening, New York will be nothing but ash. We have 25 minutes before the second wave begins." Agent Thorne didn't waste a second. Despite the shock of Lyra's glowing eyes, he understood she was the only chance they had. He rushed her to a makeshift headquarters in the basement of a federal building, where the military worked by candlelight and generators. Outside, New York was rocked by further shockwaves. The giant machines in the sky began to transform, their mirrored surfaces opening to reveal internal cores, pulsing with a menacing violet energy. "They're targeting communication hubs," one officer reported. "They're destroying everything that broadcasts a signal." Lyra pushed her way to a main terminal, connected to the last functioning satellite dish. Lyra began frantically typing codes in a language no one present had ever seen. On the screen, the sound wave of the new global 6G project appeared, humanity's ambitious attempt to connect the whole world with a high-frequency signal. "There it is," she breathed, her voice trembling. "Project Omega." Humans thought they were sending a greeting of peace and fast data into space, but to my race, "This signal sounds like Zul-Kara." Thorne frowned. "What does that mean?" Lyra looked at him with terror in her eyes. "It means extermination. It's the code used on Xylos to announce a total attack. They think Earth is preparing to destroy their solar system." As Lyra tried to decrypt the signal and translate it into a softer tone, a general at the Pentagon issued a counterattack order. "If we don't silence those machines, they'll silence us," came a voice over the radio. "Nuclear missiles are on standby." Thorne knew he only had minutes. "Doctor, can you stop the signal?" Lyra shook her head. "Earth's transmitters are too weak to drown out what's already traveling through space. The only way to explain it's a mistake is to get on board the mothership. We have to let ourselves be captured. I need to connect with them through their own consciousness." Thorne made his move. He grabbed Lyra's hand, and they ran back to the surface, right into the middle of Broadway. Above them, a massive collector drone circled, emitting a blue gravity beam and gathering satellite debris. "What are you doing?" Lyra screamed in the howling wind. "Giving them what they want." Thorne roared, firing his weapon into the air to catch the drone's attention. The beam suddenly pivoted toward them. The ground beneath their feet ceased to exist, and both were sucked into the cold metallic void. New York vanished beneath them in mist and smoke as they ascended toward the heart of the enemy fleet. The battle for Earth had just moved on board the ships. The ascent in the gravity beam lasted only seconds, but to Lyra, it felt like an eternity. When the massive airlock hissed shut beneath them, they found themselves in a hall that defied everything Thorne knew about architecture. The walls of the Ethelgerd weren't solid. They looked like liquid mercury, constantly rippling to the rhythm of the machine. The air smelled of ozone and cold metal. Thorne immediately checked his weapon, only to find it had simply dissolved into its base components in this environment. "Weapons won't help you here, Marcus," Lyra whispered. Her eyes were glowing so brightly, now they illuminated the space around them. Figures emerged from the depths of the ship. They weren't little green men, but tall, elegant beings in organic armor that looked fused to their bodies. Their movements were silent and fluid. When they saw Lyra, the entire corridor flashed red for a moment, the color of alarm and anger. One of the guards stepped forward and pressed a crystalline disc to her forehead. Lyra winced as her consciousness merged with the ship's network. She began to speak in a series of rapid, melodic tones. Thorne watched as the guard's expressions shifted from aggressive to deeply confused. "I knew his father," Lyra told Thorne. "They believe I am a traitor helping the aggressors." They were led deep into the heart of the ship, past massive generators that looked like pulsing stars trapped in cages of magnetic fields. Thorne saw on the monitors how Earth's armies were gathering for a final assault. He saw missiles prepped for launch and knew time was being counted in seconds. They reached massive doors that didn't slide open, but simply evaporated. Before them stood Jax, a tall commander with a scar across his face that glowed dark violet. His gaze was hard as ice. "Lyra of House Vance." Jax spoke in a deep voice that echoed off the walls. "Why have you sided with those who seek to destroy our home?" Lyra stepped forward, undeterred by his aura of power. "Jax, you aren't seeing a war. You're seeing the echo of a misunderstanding," she cried out. Jax waved his hand, and a holographic projection of Earth appeared between them. The entire planet was wrapped in the red web of the Project Omega signal. "Do you hear that?" Jax slammed his hand down. "That is Zul-Kara, the death song. Your people are building a weapon that will wipe Xylos off the star charts. They gave us no choice but to silence them forever." Thorne took a step forward, despite knowing he was powerless. "That's not a weapon, you idiot. That's the internet. Those are our lives." The tension on the bridge was thick enough to cut. Jax's rage was palpable, But Thorne refused to be intimidated. "Look at me," the agent shouted at the fleet commander. "You think we're smart enough to build a weapon that can destroy a galaxy? We can barely agree on what the weather's going to be tomorrow. That signal you hear is just cat photos, love letters, and videos of children. It's our chaos, not our army." Jocks paused. The sight of a furious mortal standing before him unarmed, staring him down, sparked an unexpected shadow of doubt. Lyra knew words weren't enough. She stepped toward the ship's main data core, a massive levitating crystal that served as the brain of the Ethelgerd. "Jocks, let me show you what that signal truly means," she whispered. Despite the guard's warnings, she placed both hands on the crystal. Her body tensed as terabytes of data began to surge through her. Lyra became a human translator. Through her consciousness, she began feeding fragments of human emotion tied to Project Omega into the Xylosian network. A mother singing a lullaby over video chat, the laughter of friends, an orchestra playing a symphony. The red glow in the hall slowly began to fade into a soft white. Meanwhile, on Earth, deep inside Cheyenne Mountain, a general placed his hand on the key. "The President has given authorization. If those ships don't vanish in 3 minutes, we launch everything we have." A voice crackled through Thorne's broken radio, miraculously revived by the ship's energy. Thorne grabbed it. "This is Thorne. Do not fire. I repeat, do not fire. It's a misunderstanding." But the signal was weak, and the general's voice was adamant. 2 minutes left, Thorne. "Goodbye." Jocks watched the screen as nuclear silo hatches opened. His fleet immediately locked weapons for retaliation. The world was seconds away from total incineration. Jocks watched the data stream from Lyra's mind. He saw the beauty and the pain of humanity, and for the first time, he understood. This wasn't Zul-Kara. It was a cacophony of life trying to reach the stars. "Cease fire." Jocks roared so loudly the hall trembled. "Cancel weapon transformation." Broadcast the tone of reconciliation. At the last second, as the missiles were just beginning to leave their silos, the sky over the entire planet lit up with a brilliant emerald light. The ships didn't fire death rays. They sent a frequency that instantly jammed all launch systems on Earth. Silence fell. An absolute, stunning silence. The emerald light slowly faded, and for the first time in endless hours, the true sun peeked over New York. On board the Ethelgerd, a silence fell, one no longer filled with threats, but with respect. Jocks looked at Lyra, who collapsed to the floor in exhaustion. "I have seen your truth." "Lyra of House Vance," Jocks said, bowing his head for the first time. "Your people are dangerous not because of their hate, but because of their ignorance. They are like children screaming into the dark, unaware of who might be listening." Thorne helped Lyra up, and together they watched as the ship's weapons definitively retracted back into the hull. Instead of attacks, small, elegant modules began to descend from the sky. They brought not soldiers, but technicians and envoys. In Central Park, amidst the rubble and dust, the first of them landed. People who had been hiding in the subways just moments ago began to cautiously emerge. Jocks, Lyra, and Thorne stepped out of the module first. Generals and politicians, ready for battle, stood in silent awe. Lyra stepped before the cameras that were lighting up again across the globe. "People of Earth," she spoke, her voice calm and wise. "The universe has spoken to us. It didn't want to destroy us. It was simply afraid. Today, our solitude in the cosmos ends. Months passed, and the face of the planet began to change. The massive Xylosian ships remained in the atmosphere, but no longer as a threat. They became orbital stations where scientists of both races worked together to tune a new, safe signal. Project Omega was rewritten. It was no longer just data, but a true bridge between galaxies. New York was repaired with technologies humanity hadn't even dreamed of. Skyscrapers were now connected by light paths, and clean energy from Xylos crystals replaced smoke and smog. Agent Thorne became the head of security for the new embassy, and Lyra finally stopped hiding. The final shot takes us to the rooftop of one of the repaired towers. Lyra and Jax stand side by side, watching the sunset. New York glows below them like a gemstone, intertwined with alien architecture. You were right, Jax admitted, watching children play in the park with levitating drones. Zul-Kara can also be a song of hope if sung by the right voice. Lyra smiled and looked at the stars, which were no longer cold and distant. They were the homes of friends. The War of the Worlds ended before it truly began, and humanity finally learned that the most important technology isn't a signal, but understanding. For in the infinite universe, no one is an enemy until we learn to know them.